Yes, sir. Yo, what's good? What's happening, y'all? I already told y'all I got an interview for y'all. Y'all ain't gonna believe who we got. You feel me? We got the triple cup. We don't do the double cup anymore. You feel me? If you ain't on the triple cup, you slow. That's all it is. Yes, sir. But before we get into it, I gotta give a big shout out to Eddie. Yo, chat, put some W's in the chat. Listen, he's the one that made this possible. Y'all hear that? That's called money. If you're over on Twitch, you probably ain't heard of this before. And listen, I ain't saying you broke, but you ain't kick. Supposed to be here in about 5 minutes, and then we gonna turn up. We gonna do this interview. Listen, I'm telling y'all ain't ready for who this is. I'm gonna give y'all one hint only. Rare. Rare. Peep the fade. Yes, sir. All I know is I'm doing this for y'all. I'm doing this for the fans. This isn't even for me. Okay, yeah, he's pulling up right now. Listen, he's here. Like I told y'all, we got a bag. Yeah, you probably ain't ever heard that sound before, but that's a bag. That's what we call a bag. Anyways, all right, chat, listen, he was supposed to be here 5 minutes ago. He's not here. That's not on me. Now Eddie's typing in chat. I knew this was gonna be mid. Yeah, okay. What do you want me to do? He said he was gonna be here. He's not here. What do you want me to do? Yeah, mute the stream. Mute the stream. Yo, bro, you said you were gonna be here like 5 minutes ago, bro. I got Eddie in here. Don't mess this up for me. Yeah, bro, I've been hyping you up all night. How much do I gotta Venmo you? $37, right? We said 37. Yeah, chat, listen, I'm talking to him right now, chat. Yo, listen, chat, I just got off the phone with him. He's pulling up in Discord right now. Guess how much this cost me? Guess how much this cost me? Or really, guess how much this cost Eddie? 1,200. 1,200. We finna hop into Discord right now. He should be pulling up. I think he's here. Like I said, y'all spamming L's right now. As soon as he pulls up, y'all gonna be spamming the W's. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. The goose is loose, chat. What are we talking about? I need some W's in the chat right now. I told y'all this interview is rare. They ain't doing this on Twitch. Eddie, where you at? Eddie, where you at? You was just saying this was mid, right? You was just saying this was mid, right? Yes, sir. Y'all ain't ready for this interview. I'm telling y'all, we next up. Listen, y'all, when I told y'all I got y'all, I got y'all. My boy Goose is loose. Goose is loose, yes sir. What's happening?
I love music.
W's in the chat right now. W's in the chat right now.
I love you guys. I love you guys.
Yes sir, we love you too, bro. We love you too, bro. Yo, I got the bag for you, bro. Yes sir.
I love you guys. I gotta go back to the studio. I love you guys to make more music.
Wait.
I gotta go.
Wait. When we get in the toaster for? Chat, did he just leave? No, chat, you're saying this is script. Nah. Eddie's calling my phone. No, this is not a script. Hold on, mute. No, bro, this is not a script. I sent him the money. Goose is loose, bro. You just sold, bro. You sold the biggest bag of your career. Listen, this wasn't even for me. This was for your fans. This was for chat. Honestly, bro, I got my black lawyers. Listen, bro, if you don't bust a Yui right now, it's gonna be the biggest mistake of your career.
LeBron James. Oh! Got the whole city on me. People depending on me. Yeah. She wanna leave. Yeah. Fuck, I'm pulling a peep.
Look like very like hot.
Damn, really, bro?
When?
Oh, show me your meat. LeBron James! He lost the test. Hang up.
This is a Ronaldo watch. Cost 150,000.
Bro, you didn't even buy that yourself, bro. Cars is as real to little kids. Michael
You're not a little kid! You're 21!
Yo, what's good, y'all? Listen, you know we had to cut up for the intro. I had to do a little something creative for y'all. But like I said, I got Goose is loose. The one and only, the man, the myth, the legend. As I said on the intro, I truly believe this man is next up. I look at him as a what do you call it? A creative genius mixed in with a dope personality. So you feel me? He's blessed me with his time. I'm appreciative for it. So we gonna get into this interview. Goose is loose. How you doing, Brody?
I'm doing very well. One, I want to say thank you for having me on. Two, those are very kind words. I think it takes a creative genius to know a creative genius, and that's kind of why you approached me. I really do like a lot of your takes and a lot of the things that you're pushing and saying. So yeah, thank you for having me.
I appreciate you, Brody. I appreciate your time. For real. Time is one of the most important things we have. I appreciate that, dog. To get into it, let's start with what got you into content creation and kind of what inspired you to get into making content.
So growing up, I've been editing videos since I was 9 years old on my iPod Touch, on the iMovie. side of things. So I've always been interested in the film aspect of things. And then I guess as the internet kind of progressed and you look at the early days of YouTube, like a PewDiePie or FaZe Banks and the FaZe House, you look at something like that. And I think watching those guys as a child, it kind of like, I want to do that. Like playing video games and making money off it. That's something that I think anyone would want to do at that age. But then as you get older, you go through school, you have jobs that you have to tend to, and it is kind of hard to get yourself into that niche, especially when everybody wants to do it. But that was kind of the main driver for me, was just as a kid, seeing all these guys just have fun on the internet has always been something I wanted to do.
For sure, for sure. You said the FaZe guys, so you was on Call of Duty growing up, or what? What's your take on video games?
I was never a big COD guy. I dabbled in COD, but I was never good at it. But I always, like, the crazy thing is, like, the older generation back at that time would always say, what are you doing just watching these guys play games? But now I think a lot of people realize it's not watching them play the games, it's who's playing the games, and whatever they're saying you might connect with, or you just kind of feel like you're there with them in a way. But so in video games, COD, I've never been big on COD. I was a big 2K kid.
2K community. Shout out the 2K community.
Oh, for sure.
Which 2K was your favorite?
I would say old gen 2K14, just because that's my first game. I have the most nostalgia thinking about that game. Xbox 360. My player was a demon. I didn't even play online. I just played my career, but I had so much fun as a little kid doing all that.
I feel that. That's lit. That's lit. I feel like it's big what you said. It's not really, you're not really watching the game so much, more so watching who's playing the game. I feel like that's big. I feel like that for content creators coming up is a big thing. You feel me? Like you can get nasty at a game, but if you can get nasty at a game and bring something to the table as far as your personality, the energy you bring, I feel like that's a big thing. And I feel like as soon as you can understand that mindset of it, it's just a whole different ball game.
100%. And to go off that too, I think when you look at a lot of people who try to emulate these guys and be these guys and copy the things that they say or whatever, that's fine, because like you're taking inspiration from them. But then you can't get upset when you're not growing your own community, when you're really replicating these guys, or you're just playing this video game with no personality. I think it really is a good mix of everything. And if you see yourself not succeeding, I feel like you have to figure out, okay, what am I doing wrong? Put yourself in a viewer's shoes. What am I doing wrong? How can I get these people to really grasp what I'm trying to say, or really connect with me, I guess, and want to follow me and want to stay with me and want to watch my videos?
Yeah, 100%. I was just talking to my homeboy on the phone the other day. I was like, bro, look at your content as like it's like a TV show. You feel me? Nobody's gonna want to watch the same episode over and over and over. And especially when it comes to like Call of Duty, like that's kind of where I came from. Call of Duty, making my own content in Call of Duty. And it's like, bro, nobody wants to watch the same episode over and over. They do want to watch episode 1, episode 2, episode 3. It's still got the same feel, the same touch to it, but there's something new. You feel me? There's something new they can look forward to. So I told him that. I was like, bro, do you feel me? If you just dropping the same gameplay over and over, it's going to get a little bit stale. But if you add some creativity to it, I feel like that's kind of when you hit that gold mine.
100%. And if you look at Jynxzi, for example, someone like Jynxzi, R6 was a dead game. It had been a dead game for so long. And we can touch on like more social media stuff later, but just Jynxzi in general essentially revived a game solely based on his personality. He used some great like TikTok marketing skills, but just his personality really drove him to be the streamer he is today. And it didn't matter that he was playing a boring old game at that point, but people still followed him because they liked his personality, and he used that to grow, and he does different things on R6. He came up with his own challenges and games from it. And I think that's a really good person to look at if you're trying to really break through into the gaming side of streaming.
100%. That's a good example. Jynxzi is a GOAT. I gotta ask you the question. What inspired this toaster trend you were doing?
Okay, so the first toaster video, a lot of people.
And before that, I ain't gonna lie. The first time I saw you do it, bro, I thought this man really put a fork in a toaster and just, you feel me? But go ahead. What inspired that?
So at that point in time, I just started a door-to-door sales job selling windows, kitchens, baths, and stuff. But I had been a big follower of Adin Ross and the entire like streaming game at that point. And when the idea of Kick spawned and Adin was going over there, I was like, okay, shit, I'm working full time, but like, how can I make my mark with the limited time that I have? And at that point, Twitter was also transitioning to X, and you would see a lot of gore, you'd see a lot of shock value getting promoted on the For You pages for content. So it kind of hatched in my head, like, okay, how can I do both these things at once? And it was like, Well, I mean, you can hurt yourself, you can like do whatever. But I remember seeing actually a video a long time ago on old YouTube of a guy sticking a fork in a toaster, and I went back to it. I looked at it frame by frame. Then I took my own fake toaster video and kind of added the effects to it, and then I embedded the edited video into my live stream for the morning. And then I sent the clip out to Drama Alert and everything, and it started getting reposted. And that was how that started.
That's dope. That's a genius. Like I told y'all, creative genius, bro. When you did the one where you saw like the skeleton, bro, that one had me cracking up. That
wasn't even me though. Okay, so let me just give you some context on how this got like revived and revitalized quick. So there's this very energetic Australian Twitch streamer named Boggles who had actually hit me up recently, like a couple months ago, and he was like, yo, Goose, can I take your toaster idea? I'll give you like credit or whatever. And I was like, for sure, go for it, do it. He did it, and he had the same exact viral result that I did. And then he actually did it better than I did, because he went back and stuck 2 forks in 2 toasters. And then that one went even more viral. And then I was like, okay, I got to get my skin back in this game. So I did the LeBron James toaster. But there's a little context.
Okay, I got you. Yeah.
So he was the one who did the skeleton
James.
one. Yeah, exactly.
Bro, that one had me cracking up. Okay, I got you. Okay, that makes sense. Okay, so I got this question for you, all right? All right, picture your life as a movie, right? They're remaking your life as a movie. What content creator or streamer would you want to play as you?
I would say, this was a tough one. I would say, I would either have it be XQC lip syncing my voiceover, but he's also acting. Just because I feel like a blonde guy, I feel like he's got a nice face, a nice acting face, and I feel like he's got the drama and he has a nice community around that. So I feel like also that could promote Twitch too in a way if you think about it. But otherwise, I would say Trainwrecks, just because I want to see Trainwrecks in a movie and I feel like it'll be hilarious.
Okay, I like that. Trainwreck, Trainwreck the GOAT. Shout out Trainwreck. I rock with him. XQC, obviously a legend. Those are good. Those are some good picks. I like that.
Good question.
Growing up, did you play any sports?
Yeah, so growing up, I've always been a big basketball guy. NBA, I love the NBA. Yeah, I've always played basketball. I did play a little bit of baseball, 4th grade actually. I stopped because I was too good. I hit my first ever dinger, and then I never touched a baseball bat again. I was like, that's going to be the peak for me. I'm out of there. And then recently, the past couple years since the pandemic, I've really picked up golf, and I've really liked golfing, and I've tried to get good at that, but that's a hard sport to master.
Bro, that's what I've heard. I want to get into golf. I was back in Missouri, back in my hometown for one of my best friend's wedding, and it was like the day after I linked up with some other people, and they were golfing, and I was like, yo, let me go be a ride along.
Yeah.
And bro, when I tell you, I got on the golf cart, I got me like 6-7 of the Jack Daniels and Cokes that are in the can. And bro, when I tell you, I got to hole like 17, and I couldn't even see anymore, bro. Went into the golf course main place or whatever, bro. Went to the bathroom, puked all over the floor. Bro, I would go to the car. I'm just sitting by the car. They finish up golfing. I'm like, bro, I'm out. I'm done.
Yeah, I've done.
But golfing, I want to get into it for sure.
Yeah, I've done my fair share of just buy a pack of fireball shooters, bring them to the course, shoot her a hole, and it just goes downhill very fast.
I told people, I was like, this is the only place where drinking and driving is celebrated.
Exactly. And it may be the only place where drinking actually enhances your driving performance off the tee box.
Okay, I like that.
I don't think I would be raised the way I was raised. I mean, I know I wouldn't, because that's the whole point of raising someone, is it's your parents who did it. But I'm very grateful that they raised me to be the person I am. I think you are a pretty good reflection of how your parents raised you, and I think that I was always taught to treat people with respect and treat them as equals, and I'm very grateful that I am exactly how I am today because of them.
Yeah, I like that. I feel like that's huge, especially our society today, bro. I feel like we've lost that treating people with respect. You feel me? It's easy to treat somebody who's got a lot of motion or has got a lot of success. You feel me? They walk in a room, it's easy to treat that person with, you feel me, the utmost type of respect. Because you feel me, you in your mind, you might gain something from them. But it's right. You feel me? It's a different situation when it's somebody who you might not think can bring anything to the table or enhance your life, or it might even be somebody you know that's going to end up draining your energy. I feel like how you treat that person is more a reflection of who you are than how you treat, you feel me, the CEO. You feel me? I always went by treat the janitor the same way you're going to treat the CEO.
100%. And I think you
I
look
like
at
that.
like when like a big streamer will have other people on their stream, it's either one, they're like super awkward, two, they're gonna ask for money, or three, they're gonna shout themselves out, or they just fan out, which is like, it makes sense. Like obviously if you watch these guys for a while and you idolize them, that's the natural response. But I feel like if you're actually trying to get there at one point, you gotta treat them like, okay, well, I'm on his stream, how can I make his stream better? How can I entertain his stream while also gaining the mutual benefit of, okay, now I have a clip on this guy's stream, how can I promote this and help myself? And it's a mutual benefit at the end of the day from that.
Most definitely. I like that. I like that. That's how I, for y'all who don't know, a little backstory, the way I found Goose is Loose was through Adin Ross's stream. He was on his gambling segment. So walk us through that. How'd you get on the stream? What was the experience like? But like I said, yeah, I saw him on Adin Ross's stream. I was like, bro, this dude's mad funny. I went and checked out his content, a Stephen A. Smith video, which we're going to get into in a second. But yeah, walk us through that. How were you feeling in that moment?
Yeah, so after this, I also want to touch on the speed stuff a little bit too, because that ties in with the toaster. But for the Adin one, the thing that a lot of people don't realize is it's a lot easier than you might think to like get on these guys' streams. Adin has a segment called Steak Roulette, because obviously Kickin' Steak. And instead of gambling his millions of dollars, he'll drag people in, give them $500 to spend, and you keep whatever you earn. And essentially all you have to do is join his Discord and get in the voice chat to be dragged. And I was lucky enough, Prismel dragged me, and I was just in and I was there.
That's what's up. Did you feel nervous in the situation, or were you just like, hey, it's game time? It's either sink or swim?
Well, I wasn't even expecting to get dragged, so I was like, I think sitting on TikTok or something, and then all of a sudden I just heard like the little Discord bloop, and I was like, holy shit, it's Adin Ross on my screen. I was super nervous, but and I sweat a lot. I don't know if it's a condition or something, but I was sweating. And that's why I like the intro that I said bro like 4 times, but it was super cool. And after I got the nerves out, and I mean, he's just another human being. So once I got the nerves out and calmed down a little bit, it was just, okay, let me chop it up and see what it's like.
So you put him on a new slot too. You came up a little bag on it too. So yeah, that was a good segment. I feel like he rocked with you. I feel like he could tell like you feel me? He could tell you were a genuine person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that was huge.
Yeah, and then he also said that I would be on the segment the following night. They were going to do a splitter steal, him and Cheesur. I just want to call out Cheesur.
The big cheese.
Yeah.
Talk to him. Come on.
I don't know
who's
okay. Nerman.
Hey, listen,
Nerman. Listen here, Nerman.
Put him on the stream, or we going to call Joe Biden.
I didn't want to say the P word in case my mom watches this.
We're going to have the napalm. We're going to have the napalm strike. You feel me?
But Cheesur canceled. Cheesur, you canceled the splitter steal segment because you didn't want to stream. You didn't want to wake up at 10 p.m. and just spark up. You didn't. So I didn't get to do the splitter steal, but it's all good. I rock with Cheesur. I rock with Adin.
Big love to both of them. Cheesur had me on his stream doing a little kind of the same type of situation. So I rock with Cheesur for sure. That's dope. All right, let's go to the speed, because you got on speed stream as well, right?
Yes. So the speed thing was a little bit, so I go to school for sales now. Like I said, I did have that door-to-door job, but then I started going to school. And sales-wise, it's a lot about connections and how can you use your connections. I want to give a big shout-out to one of my connections, Fear Buck. After the first, if you guys don't know, it's a big Twitter account who's basically in the streaming space, reports on streaming news and whatnot. But after the first Twitter video, or the first toaster video, he actually hit me, or I followed him and I like sent a DM to him or something, and he followed back. I don't ever try to like ask or like be pushy about anything, but I'll just be like, hey, I have this idea, can you pitch it? So I saw Speed was doing a loyalty test. I saw from his community on Twitter. Once again, anyone can really follow the same formula. Just got to keep your eyes out and be tapped in everywhere and try to take advantage of opportunities. But I applied for this loyalty test, and then I had this idea. I was like, okay, well, what if my girl fails a loyalty test and I go stick a fork in a toaster? Boom, that'll be a good clip for me. And it kind of wraps up the toaster saga. And then boom, that'll be a good clip for Speed, hopefully. So I asked Fear Buck if he could pitch it to Speed's manager, Slips, just through a DM. And he was like, sure. So, because it's just a pitch. And then Slip said yes. I got in contact with them. We kind of set it up. I filmed this like crazy edited video. I waited for like 2 days. I put on the same clothes, so it was hopefully hard to tell that there was a cut. And then I got this girl who I had talked to like a while ago, but I kind of prepped her with this idea, and she did a great job acting for the first like 7 minutes. I don't think Slips told Speed either that I was going to do the toaster thing, so I think he actually thought my girl dumped me. I tried to do some Oscar level acting too, and then the toaster thing happened, and his reaction seemed genuine, which is W on Slips' part, and then that all worked out pretty well, and I'm happy with that.
That's what's up. That's lit. Yeah, that video was crazy. That's dope. Have you got a chance to chop it up with Speed at all?
I mean, I consider the first like 6 minutes of that chopping it up with them.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I said, I mean, that guy's such a busy guy. Being in that position where he's always traveling and streaming and worrying about other stuff. I mean, one day, hopefully, I'll get the chance to chop it up with him. But the chips will fall where they may.
100%. I remember this. That brings me to this Kevin Hart interview I was watching, and he was talking about he was in a room with Jeff Bezos, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he was with his wife, and he was with one of his homeboys, and he was like, "Yo, that's Jeff Bezos. I'm gonna go introduce myself." And he was like, his homeboy was like, "Bro, don't do that. That's not you feel me? This ain't the right environment."
Right.
And he was like, he looked at his homeboy and he was like, "What are you talking about, bro? If I got a chance to go introduce myself to Jeff Bezos, and maybe we don't have that conversation here, but it opens the door for a future conversation,
100%.
I'm gonna go and do that." So you feel me? You got your foot in the door. You ever meet Speed in real life, or you run into him again, you'll be like, "Yo, I was the dude who did the toaster thing." He's gonna recognize you. You feel me? So that's a dope experience to have.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you hit it nail on the hammer. Yeah, that's all it is just building that small connection. Like that Adin thing happened, and then he just followed me the other day, actually. The same day as a Playboy Cardi stream, he followed me back on Twitter because I did another thing. Just like, the more that you do, the more that they will see, and the more that they'll realize
for sure
what you can bring to the table, kind of thing.
And
then one more thing, too, I want to say on that. I am like a Twitter spammer. I will spam clips of these people, or I will spam my replies because I kind of wrote like a little note about this. But yeah, once again, my sales experience, and like we were saying, the mutual benefit, I think if you can really show a creator, because a creator loves their fans, right? Every creator loves all their fans, or they should at least, unless like you're Jack Doherty or some phony Indian not streaming on Kick. But every creator obviously loves their fans, and if they could, they would probably chop it up with you. They'd probably reach out and talk to you as much as possible because they appreciate what you're doing for them. But that's not realistic, because the bigger you get, the harder it is to talk to everyone. So I think if you want to get noticed nowadays, I think you have to show that you can provide something of value to them, that they are like, okay, I appreciate that. I'm going to keep my eye on you. I'm going to toss you a follow. That's how I perceive follows, and that's how I believe you should really try to build your online personality.
For sure. Hey, whatever you doing it right. I ain't gonna lie to you. I rock with the way you move with your content. I'll rock with the creative ideas you bring. And yeah, bro, keep doing you. I'm rocking with that for sure.
Thank you, brother.
So I want to get into this little bit of a segment, because a lot of people don't know about this. You essentially troll Stephen A. Smith. I gotta talk about this. You essentially troll Stephen A. Smith. So actually walk us through this. How did you even think of this idea? How did you get on the show with Stephen A. Smith?
Yeah, so in post we can just throw in the clip even, or at least some of it. But so the way I figured this out, so like I mentioned before, I'm a big NBA guy. I love basketball, I love sports. And originally, before the Stephen A. thing, before the second toaster wave, I started making NBA shorts, NBA content, to just kind of try to build a following on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, whatever. So I made these NBA videos, and I was actually in the middle of editing an NBA video when I was lucky enough to see a Stephen A. tweet. It was like, "Call the show now if you're cool," or some shit like that. And I was like, all right.
Yeah.
So I called right away, and I was lucky enough to get through. And I was like, okay, what's my question? Because they asked me, what's my name, what's my question, right away. And I was like, oh my God, I had no question. And I just really thought quickly. I was like, what can I ask? I saw on NBA Twitter. NBA Twitter's awesome. I love engaging with NBA Twitter, but I saw there was like a common notion or like meme around acting like Lightning McQueen was this NBA superstar. Like, oh, he's at 7 Piston Cups. You've probably seen like memes like that and stuff before. But it wasn't like to that big level. Like, obviously Stephen A. is mainstream. So I was like, okay, well, I actually made a video about Lightning McQueen earlier that week. And I was like, okay, I'm going to ask him this question and phrase it. It's actually the same exact phrasing that I used in this YouTube short. That was the question I pitched him. I was like, you think about Jordan was 6, Brady was 7, where do you rank a guy like Lightning McQueen? And the thing was, I was on hold for like 40 minutes, pacing around my room. My pits were sweating crazy. But I was pacing around my room because they were like, we like your question, we're going to go ahead with it. And I was like, okay, well, 20 minutes goes by. I was like, okay, I'm going to set up my camera and start recording. And then I had to listen through to the whole show up until it gets to the questions at the end. But I was prepared. And then I started like making like little notes about, okay, I can bring this up, I guess. I don't know what he's going to come at me with, but I had like a couple notes written down. And then also it was so scary because this was, if you remember, Snoop Dogg quit smoking to promote this like stove.
Right.
And on this call that I'm on hold for like an hour, every 5 minutes Snoop Dogg's voice comes up. He's like, I quit smoking. And I'm like, what the hell? So every 5 minutes my heart jumps. I think it's Stephen A, or I think it's the producer talking to me, but it's just Snoop Dogg over and over. So I kept getting trolled by Snoop Dogg, but then yeah, Stephen A came about on the microphone and he's like, Danny from Wisconsin, boom. And there it was.
That's lit. That's lit. So on that Stephen A. Smith, so after that segment, interview, whatever you want to call it, ended, did you hear anything back from him? Did you hear anything from producers, or did you just, next thing you saw was it kind of going viral because he reposted it on Twitter, right?
Yeah, so actually I did have to like, it was kind of crazy because that was the day right before I left to go home for Thanksgiving break. I go to school like 3 hours away. So I essentially did the Stephen A thing. I recorded my point of view, but I didn't upload it anywhere. And then I left 3 hours to go home for Thanksgiving break. And that was just a terrible, horrible mistake because I was watching the new Hunger Games with my brothers at the movie theater. And I went to the bathroom and I checked my phone. And I got a notification from Bleacher Report saying, hey, can you please send us a full video? We'll give you credit and repost it. And I was like, oh my gosh, I just sold 3 hours of my life because I didn't upload it anywhere. So I had to drive back the next morning at 6 a.m. I had to drive to my computer 3 hours away, upload this video. I clipped it out myself and stuff. Then I sent it off to them, and then I drove 3 hours back for Blackout Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. And then I went to the bars, had a good time. And then as I was at the bars, it was on ESPN and it was reposted on all their pages. So that at the bar, everyone was coming up to me and they're like, were you good, the guy on ESPN? And I was like, yeah. But that was cool. That was fun.
Lit. Yeah, that's a dope story. That's a fun. Listen, that's gonna go down. Give it a year, 2 years, 3, whatever it is. Once you hit that, once you hit your blow up, bro, you're gonna be able to look back on that story and be like, that's a dope story.
Well, I'm glad we also solidified it too by doing a podcast. So I'm glad I'm able to like talk about
these things. Yeah, for sure, most definitely.
And then also, I do want to give one more shout out to. There was a producer on the show who actually he tweeted and said, "I'm a producer on the show. This is one of the best things I've ever seen." The Stephen A. show. But this guy's like a genius. He used to work at Barstool. But then he started running the socials for Stephen A. I mean, he like his company does. And yeah, they reposted my stuff. They gave me a tag on the official Stephen A. Smith account, which was cool.
That's dope. What's his name?
Bailey Carlin, BW Carlin on Twitter.
Hey, shout out Bailey. That's lit. Yeah. That's love.
Oh yeah, and then I was also gonna say, now you see that Stephen A. Smith account talking about Pokemon, talking about SpongeBob, talking about all these other animated characters. I don't want to say anyone started that, but
listen, you a trendsetter. I told you a creative genius, my boy. Like, you feel me? Keep doing your thing, bro. Like, you gonna set waves in so many different lanes. It's gonna be crazy.
That's the goal. Everybody eats 2024. That's what I'm gonna keep saying.
It's crazy how you can do something that's just like you and your personality and whatnot. It's cool to see how social media is so impactful, that if you do something that catches some traction, you start to see other people implement it, or you start seeing it, what's the word? You start seeing it kind of influence other people's content and other people, even vocabulary or whatever it may be. I think that's a really cool thing.
And I think going off that too, 100%. And now these big streamers, like you said, like, people taking lingo or taking slang. Like when you think about the AR Loyals or Adin Ross's community, when you say C-Red, I mean, like Snag started
C-Red,
muddy, a bunch of muddy.
Exactly.
Just muddy. It's just all these different phrases.
I got a cop one. Listen. I don't toot my own horn too often. You feel me? I started this word Diffy. Because I was like, Diffy, Diffy. You feel me?
Yeah.
The way I know is because that was my oldest sister. I ain't gonna say her name, but I called her Diffy. We were playing Call of Duty. I was playing with my homeboys, and I was like, "Oh, he hit a shot or something." I was like, "Oh yeah, that's Diffy." I was like, "Bro, we gonna coin that Diffy," and we just started like tweeting it out. I'm moving Diffy and whatnot. Next thing you know, you see Swag talking about it. You see Joe Woes saying it. You see all these different people saying it, and it's just cool to see how, like, you feel me, your vocabulary can influence other people's vocabulary. And
100%. I also invented a word. I call it shyster. I refer to myself as Dr. Shyster. On my Snapchat story from
like
my
that.
friends, if I do some weird shit like the Stephen A or whatever, I just say, Dr. Shyster did it again. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's lit. So from that Stephen A. Smith experience, how did it motivate you in your content? And two, like, what'd you kind of learn from it?
I think that was a big, like, whoa.
You could do it?
Whoa kind of moment. Like, yeah, like, it's really not that hard to do some of these crazy things if you really just start thinking about, okay, how do I put myself in position to do it? Because, once again, anybody can call the Stephen A. Smith show and ask any question that they want and record themselves and then upload their own point of view, but no one's just thought of that before. And it's just like, sometimes when things start clicking in your brain, you're like, oh my gosh, things can actually work out. And then the speed thing's another example of that. I just love that story too, because it's like, who would have thunk that someone with like less than 1,000 Instagram or Twitter followers could just be like, find a way to essentially direct a 6 or 7 minute segment in front of 50 or 60,000 people. You wouldn't think that's possible, but it really is. If you just have an idea and you're motivated and passionate about it and you think you can execute and other people think it's a good idea, then it's like, okay, why would we not do that?
For sure. I rock with it. Off topic. Have you ever done psychedelics in your life?
Yes, actually. And
The reason I asked that is because that what you just said right there is what I thought the first time I did a psychedelic. And this was back senior year summer of high school. So going into my freshman year of college, I'm chilling, two of my best friends for life. I've known them since 7th grade. We chilling at my crib. My homeboy's like, yo, I got these psychedelics. I ain't gonna say what it was, you feel me?
Yeah.
So we took them. It was a perfect night, bro. It was like 70, 78, 80 degrees at night, perfect weather, no wind, bro, just beautiful weather. We take it. This is how it hit me. I went to the mirror and I was looking at the mirror and I was like, bro, stuff's kind of moving a little different. And this was the first time I ever took psychedelics.
Yeah.
And then I go out to my back porch and there was a train track probably 1.5 miles from my crib. Open the sliding door, bro, and I promise you, I felt like the train was like right in front of me.
Yeah.
It was just like, woo, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm tripping. I go to the backyard and there's this big tree and I don't know, I just started staring at this tree and something in my mind popped that was like, I thought of Kevin Hart. For some reason, I thought of Kevin Hart. And I was like, what makes Kevin Hart special? And in my mind, I never really thought of like how you could really like, you feel me? How you could be that like top 0.03% of people. And I started thinking, I was like, bro, I could do something like that. You feel me? And it kind of brought it into that like going, you feel me? Going the extra mile, figuring out a creative way to be seen, or like, I got the concept of like, there's more to life than just living life, essentially. You feel, if you get what I'm saying, you get what I'm 100%. Saying. But that's the first time I got that kind of concept was off psychedelics. It's like you go from black and white to a colorful world.
And I would never do any like hard drugs in any sense.
100%.
But people don't even realize like that is used for healing in certain cultures. But I think if you're in the right headspace, and I think if you're using it to fuel creativity or start thinking about life in a bigger spectrum, I think then by all means.
I mean, I feel like shrooms specifically will tell you what you need to know at that point in your life. 100%. If your life is down in the gutter and you do some shrooms, you feel me, you finna hear, you feel me, you have a quote unquote bad trip. And I think a bad trip is more so really kind of analyzing your life, where you're at, and telling you about it. You feel me, telling you the things you may not want to hear. And you're gonna be telling yourself that.
If you really think hard and bring these bad things to the forefront of your brain, is that the things start to work themselves out in your brain, and they're like, okay, these are the steps that you should take to do whatever it is you want to do. And it really started, it was kind of like, dude, stop going out so much, stop doing all this stuff, and really start trying to get in contact with the people that you've always wanted to, and start networking and connecting, and keep doing well in school, and keep doing this on the side, and like stop wasting your time scrolling on TikTok and just lock in and focus. Because the only way that you can ever figure out if you can make it is trying and being consistent and really, really going for it.
I like that. Definitely. 100%. I got a question for you. What advice, because it's gonna be some kids watching this, some kids going through middle school, some kids going through high school. What advice, if you could give yourself some advice while you were going through middle school and high school, what would you tell yourself?
I was lucky enough to have a hobby in video editing and watching YouTube is a hobby, but it's not really a productive one. But like editing videos, whether it's sports for you, whether it's kayaking, whatever it might be, I think it's super, super important to find a hobby, because I feel like when you get to college, obviously school, you're going to be going through school and doing a bunch of school, and it might be hard at some points, but I think anyone with a hobby that they can do in their free time that's not scrolling on TikTok, I think that's the starting point. Find something that you really like, and I think from there, as you get older and as you have more avenues and more freedoms, start trying to find ways to monetize your hobby. You like this thing so much, find a way to make money off it, whatever it is. There's a better quote, but and then
I get what you're saying, for sure.
I would also say don't try to fit in with other people so much, because that you're just setting yourself back. I feel like if you're 100% authentic to yourself and just trying to be yourself, you will find the people who respect you. And if people don't respect you for being yourself, then keep looking and find people who will, because there are always people who are willing to be accepting of you and are willing to talk to you. And if people are assholes and are going to chop you down or shut you out, I feel like those aren't your true friends. If you consider those people your friends, they're not your friends. Find some real friends. And also, if you're an asshole, look inside and like be like, stop being an asshole, because there's no point.
I like that. Go where you're celebrated, never where you're tolerated.
100%.
In respect to your content creation career, what type of legacy do you want to leave behind?
So, have you seen that one guy, Matan, who pops up everywhere? He popped up at the Game Awards. Bill Clinton, he said that.
Yeah, I know you talking about, yeah.
So, essentially, I really like all the memes that are like, who is this kid popping up everywhere? But then it's like, you never really know Matan. You don't really know much about him. You just see him everywhere. I kind of want to be like that, but intentional with it. Like, the Stephen A thing was intentional. The Speed thing was intentional. The Adin thing was intentional. Instead of Matan, where he's just stream sniping him and doing all this stuff. He actually is, I did check, he's doing a podcast now, and it's more like real topics. Right. But I mean, in respect to him, because he built his platform and he's doing his thing now. But something like that with more intent and more funny, more entertaining, but just trying to find ways to squeeze in and crack in where I can. But then long term, eventually, down the line, I would love to start building a team, because I have so many ideas and I can come up with so many more ideas. But I would love to have a team that could help me execute these ideas, or I could be a part of someone else's team and execute ideas until I can get leverage to start my own team and whatever. But whatever it might be, I just want to do as much fun stuff as possible and then start businesses off it and make money, all while spreading a good message and having fun and being awesome.
Nah, I like that. That's lit. I could see that working for you. I ain't gonna lie. I can see that working for you. I feel like we're gonna see a lot of, we're gonna see you popping up here and popping up there, which is some crazy, creative, genius ideas. I can see it for sure. So content creator wise, right? Mm-hmm. Who would you say is your biggest motivator?
I'm glad you asked this question, because I really do. Obviously, I mentioned a bunch of people on the internet before, but I really do look up to a few people in particular. I really do have respect for anyone who's been willing to overcome adversity and use it to become a better person. And I think the best example of this might be a Jake Paul kind of character.
Okay.
He used to be the bad Paul. He used to be the evil Paul. And then he really found boxing and ended all his fake YouTube stuff, like the Hype House, Cloud House, whatever it was. Whatever his house was, the Disney Channel house. He ended that kind of abruptly once the YouTube boxing thing picked up, and I think he really found his passion in boxing, and now he's using his platforms to be a cool boxer, to pop in other places, be like this mega superstar for boxing. I think that's super awesome and commendable. Also, when it comes to adapting, I think you look at a guy like Stevewilldoit, because recently, I think social media's been getting better, but obviously a couple years ago, there was big censorship, and Stevewilldoit got banned on YouTube. And I want to give credit to Stevewilldoit. I want to give him my flowers, just because I think he was able to. I actually looked at his website today because I was doing some clipping for him and Vitaly and Nelk Boys. I was just trying to start some stuff, because I was bored. But I saw on his website he has like this whole setup of his videos, merch, like a newsletter. He's like doing everything that he can do without YouTube, which I think is really commendable and hard to do, hard to actually maintain a platform after getting shunned off some of these other platforms. So super commendable there. And then also someone like Adin Ross, I'm a big follower of him, obviously. If you followed him last year though, obviously he was going through some stuff. He fell to drugs and he was in a really bad place. And I also know that no one can pull you out of a bad place other than yourself. So it takes a lot of self-strength, because if someone's really down bad, you can tell anything you want to them, you can say all these things, but they're not going to change their mind and start grinding unless they find it within themselves. So I commend him for doing that and then going above and beyond, and he's really just been flying this year and going crazy, which is super cool because he came from like streaming once a week, once every 2 weeks at one point, to like, okay, now he feels bad if he misses a day on our behalf. He feels bad for us. So I think because we were rocking with him so hard, now he's like, I gotta put on for these guys because they missed out on a year of content. So
Growth and development, I always talk about that. I'm the type of person who I don't judge people based on where they're at, right? I judge people based on where they were a month or 2 months or a year ago compared to where they're at today. So that's why I really rock with your examples of Jake Paul or Adin Ross. I feel like those are two people we can really look and see a lot of growth and development in their life. Do you know Jankos? Jankos, yes, sir.
The guy, he was on Impulsive?
Yeah, and he just did an interview with Jake Paul, and he really gets kind of vulnerable. He has a situation where he's talking to Jake, and he's like, there was one point in life where you really humbled me. We were out and about. I think said he was with like Alyssa Violet and Jake Paul, and this little kid came up to him and was kind of like really on Jake, like, what camera do you use? How do you do this and that? And George was kind of looking at this kid like, bro, get out of here. And they said they got back to Jake's crib or somebody's crib, wherever it was. And he said Jake looked at him and he was like, bro, what kind of person are you? The way that kid was treating me was the same way you were treating Logan. So how are you going to judge this kid when you were in that same situation?
Damn.
And just kind of seeing that perspective and whatnot, and knowing like how good of a person George is, and just, you feel me, all of that just combined it's just a cool experience to see, being able to, admit that type of humbling experience like that, and then just seeing Jake's growth through that was dope. And then when you bring up Adin Ross, I rocked with Adin. I wasn't following him back in the 2K days. I started kind of rocking with him on Twitch and whatnot, and then he kind of went through that phase where he got canceled. He was kind of doing, you feel me, the pull up on the rainbow thing, and he was just kind of doing too much for my taking and for my liking. And I think he's really kind of developed into this groove where he's really, you feel me, grown into who he is as a person. He's gonna stand for what he believes in. Yeah, so seeing his growth and development too, I rock with that.
And then I also wanted to glaze a little bit more. No, but that was actually, you're really good at pulling anecdotes. That's what I've noticed so far through this interview. But I like the anecdotes that you pull. But I also want to, FaZe Banks actually followed me after the first Toaster video. And I DM'd him a couple times, but that's not the point. I got aired, which is funny because it's like you got to shoot your shot. But FaZe Banks too, yeah, like I mentioned before, all the FaZe guys. I think you look at Banks especially because the FaZe house kind of died out. You saw less and less of Apex. You saw less and less of Adapt. You saw less and less of Nikon even. I mean, Nikon, Jarvis, and K all did their own thing, and that was scamming. But FaZe Banks then transitioned with Rice Gum into this like YouTube landscape of 2011 party scene. Kind of brought Adin Ross on in a way, and I think FaZe Banks has a knack for finding these guys and continuing to evolve and adapt throughout the internet, because the last thing you want to do on the internet is get sensitive and act like, oh my god, I'm not getting any views anymore, what am I doing, I'm a loser. But no, Banks is just a chill guy. He's done his internet stuff and now he pops in from time to time where he can, and I think it's really commendable, and I think that's super cool that he does that.
Yeah, I like that. That's a good example. And I mean, we could sit here all night and go over different people. And there's so many cool personalities and grinders and just people who've put their mark on this content creation and internet world and whatnot. So, but the examples you picked, I feel like those are lit. I ain't gonna lie to you. I got a serious question. This might be the biggest question of the night.
All right.
Are you ready for this?
I've never been more ready.
Sam Frank or Demisux?
Oh my god, I could do a 2-hour podcast about how much I hate one of them. I would have to say I've always been an ass kind of guy.
Okay. We ain't even got it. We already know who he's picking. Carrying on with this. What do you think about Neon? Yeah, as a content creator, as a personality, whatever.
I'm so glad you brought this up.
Give me your take.
Terrible. Obviously everyone knows he switched up and went to Kane and Jack Doherty's. If I was Neon, I'd be so embarrassed. He posted a picture with James Harden on Twitter today. Yeah, within 6 minutes, it gets botted.
James Harden looked cooked. I ain't gonna lie. James Harden
does not know who the hell he is, but I don't know if James Harden knows what he said about LeBron and AD either, but that's not the point. Yeah, he just built his whole career on being phony and probably also falsifying the numbers that he's actually achieving because they're botted. But he's probably pitching to these Ruby Rose. Hey, Ruby Rose, come on my stream. I average 90,000 viewers. Doesn't mention they're botted. She comes on, gets her check. Doesn't matter, but Neon pretends he has clout because of having Ruby Rose on stream. It's all a free puppet show. And I hope that he has his Jake Paul moment or his Steve. Well, I don't even want to compare him to Stevewilldoit, but I want him to have his Jake Paul moment.
Yeah, it's a reason they say pride comes before the fall. So the way I'm gonna piggyback off it a little bit, the way I look at Neon is I got a little bit of empathy for him because I look at him. He's a kid who grew up in this cyber world, right? His generation was probably starting to be the first generation where as soon as they could, like they were on social media, you feel me? Like my generation, I'm a 94 baby. I'm a little bit of an old head, you feel me?
Yeah.
Hey, we ain't need the ad libs. But not for real. So my generation was more, you feel me? I was still outside playing in the yard, like with my brothers and whatnot. And then I kind of evolved into, I had an iPod Touch, got on the social media game a little bit and whatnot. So I still kind of had both senses of reality. So from my perspective, I got to look at it and kind of understand like some of these kids and whatnot, all they know is social media.
Yeah.
So I look at Neon as somebody as that. You can look back, he's been posting on YouTube for 7, 8, 9 maybe years. So his whole identity, his whole perception of reality is this social media world. So to him, it's almost like this movie that's just constantly going on where he's an actor. So I don't think we very often get to see who Neon really is, because there's a lot of people who talk about, oh, he's a really great guy off of camera, but once he gets on camera, it's like he changes into this persona that's not really him. So I get what you're saying on that, and I think you got to be careful in those situations, because especially when you're doing IRL streaming, it's not really a movie, it's real life. But if you don't have that understanding of like, this is real life and what I'm pushing out is what people are going to perceive my personality and who I am as, I think that's kind of it kind of gets distorted for him. He starts doing off the wall things and whatnot, and you feel me, at the end of the day, I feel like he does got a lot of growing up to do in that respect to things. So yeah, I look at him though, I have empathy towards him, but I do think, you feel me, he's going to eventually have that moment where he takes something too far, he disrespects the wrong person, he gets checked for it. Hopefully, you feel me, it ain't too serious of a situation, but at the end of the day, you can look in somebody's eyes, you can look how somebody moves and see somebody who's gotten their jaw cracked before, or somebody who's been in real life situations because of how they respect the people around them. You feel me? You're not gonna see somebody who's grown up in environments where, in real life environments, who's out here disrespecting any and everybody. The only people you're gonna see doing that are people who grew up in this cyber world. You're on Minecraft or you're on Call of Duty and you can say whatever you want because you're behind a screen. Nobody's gonna reach through your screen and punch you in your jaw. Whereas if you're in a real situation and you disrespect like somebody like that, you feel me, you could get cracked in your jaw. So I think he's gotta understand that kind of real life situation. That's why I rock with his security guard Leon, because I feel like he checks him all the time and kind of tries to get him to understand, like, this isn't a video game, this is real life. Like, what you say and do can and will be used against you. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like you feel me, he just got growing up to do. He's gonna hit a point where, you feel me, he gets his jaw cracked, gets sued, or he may disrespect the wrong person, or however it may be, figuratively speaking or physically speaking, he's gonna get his jaw cracked. And then, you know, hopefully he gets to a realization, like you said, has that Jake Paul, Logan Paul moment, and, you know, grows from it and whatnot, growth and development. That's what we want to see. But nah, I think you're spot on with what you're saying.
No, I think that was a good perspective too, because I feel like a lot of people, once again, don't really look at that and kind of see that side of things. So I think that was good as well.
Yeah, most definitely. It's, you know, because I think you can break down people. Like, I think if you took the camera away from Neon, in his heart, he's a good person. But then it goes into the him flipping that switch, and him, you can feel like you're a good person to the point where you flip that switch and you're a terrible person on camera, but in your mind it's like, it's okay because it's just an act, but I'm a good person in reality. But what you're doing and your actions are showing that you're not a good person, and you kind of start losing track of that because you feel like you're a good person, but your actions are showing something different. And I think he's kind of getting caught up between those two lines. Plus he's got $1 million now and all this clout and whatnot, so it's going to be a tough situation for him to navigate through. And I think that's the importance of having a good team team around you, specifically the Leon. I think Leon, like I said in one of my videos, I really feel like Leon most likely probably saved his life, if not saved him from a significant event happening. And hopefully, he listens to him and whatnot and keeps him around. But
I agree. I think Leon's good for him for sure. I think he needs to cut Kane out. I think Kane's the problem.
all right, we're gonna go into this last question.
All right.
Throughout your life, what was one of or multiple the hardest challenges of your life?
Shit, I would say, so in high school, I was always a very, very smart kid, and I had bright ideas. I got a 31 on my ACT, and I don't want to say that to flex. I just say that to give some context.
Wait, my fault. I missed that. You got a what?
31.
You got a 31? Okay,
Yeah,
I see you, Mr. Brainiac.
Yeah, and it was like I had a good GPA too, and I got to college, and I was like, oh my God.
My fault. I
good.
struggled to get a 21. I ain't gonna lie to you.
Exactly, and it's like that doesn't make you any more dumb than I am. It just means that you might not be as good at math or science or some like other BS. But that's kind of my mentality, and I was like, oh my God, I have to go back to college and do 4 more years of these stupid electives when I already kind of have an idea of what I want to do. So that kind of evolved to I got Lyme's disease freshman year, which is terrible. I got bit by a tick, and I had body aches. It was horrible. I was sweating. It was bad.
No.
So I had a fever like. It was terrible. I had sleep paralysis for like a whole week. It was horrible. And then that was bad. And then I had to drop out of school. And then I went back to school. And I was like, oh my God, shocker. I still don't like this. It didn't, the Lyme's disease didn't like matter. Like I didn't want to go to my classes because I was like, what is the point of this BS all for a paper that if you're good at what you do, any company will hire you? Like I feel like that's an established thing in the 21st century. Like olden age, you might not be able to get that job without the paper, but so I stopped going to my classes, and then it ended up being a thing where I wasn't really communicating well with my parents about the fact that I wasn't going to classes when they were the ones who were funding them, and that was a really hard conversation to have, and because I was doing nothing for a while. I was laying in my bed like really just doing nothing. I didn't have a job, and I had that conversation with my dad the same day I got my sales job interview, and then just having that conversation and just really being like, I don't want to be like lying to my parents like that again. I'll just be straight up with them. I think just that was a super critical moment for me in terms of growing as a person. And still, I don't like school, but I mean, if I can gain value out of a sales class because it's not all these electives, then I mean, by all means, I'd love to gain that information and apply it to what I'm trying to do. But I don't want to sit here regurgitating the 4 P's of marketing or this stupid equation or whatever it might be. I'd rather just take everything in the position I am now and just apply it full force on what I'm trying to do, which is what I've kind of been starting to do.
For sure. I rock with that. All right. Anything else you would like to add? Any, questions you wished I asked?
No, I just want to say thank you because I think this was an awesome conversation. I think, we're both going to get down to clipping the shit out of this. But I hope we provided a good conversation for people to listen to. I think you did a really good job interviewing with your questions. I think we both did a good job piggybacking off each other and sharing some good opinions. So I just want to say thank you for kind of setting this up, because otherwise I don't know if I really would have ever done my own sort of thing where I would have brought up all these topics or stories. So it was fun.
100%. I appreciate you for real. I appreciate your time. Like I said from the beginning, to me, you're a creative genius. You got what it takes. You're him. And this is coming from somebody, I remember, Clicks from Fortnite.
Oh yeah, I saw he follows you.
Yeah, I met him. I was his first editor. I met him. He was probably 14, 15. And
Damn.
I told him the same thing. I was like, bro, you're going to be a millionaire by 21. You feel me? I see the same type of potential in you. You feel me? I think you, like I said, creative genius, bro. Stay on your consistency, stay on your grind. And we're gonna have to follow up with an interview in a year down the road or something. And so I can be like, hey, I told you so. Look where you at, my boy. Yeah. Just listen, just stay consistent, stay believing in what you're doing, stay creative. Always don't ever let somebody try to put your candle out, and don't ever let somebody demotivate you, because I'm telling you, you got what it takes, and you're gonna be on top soon, all right?
Thank you, brother. You too. Hey, keep it going too, man. I'm like flushing a flusher. I feel so homo, but
listen,
thank you, bro.
All I know how to do is keep it real, keep it 100. So you feel me? Me telling you got it, that's truly what I believe. So I appreciate you coming through. I really appreciate that. And I appreciate your time 100%. Like, that was a W interview. Y'all let me know what you think, though. Like I said, this was a first for me. First time I've ever interviewed somebody, done any type of content like this. I had a good time doing it. And yeah, this was for y'all. This was for Goose is Loose. Make sure y'all go check him out. Go follow him. Like I said, hey, he's next up. And if y'all did enjoy the video, y'all already know the vibes. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we gonna keep running this up. I appreciate y'all. Much love. I'm out.